first things first. ADC obviously stands for attack damage carry.
Yeah.
So, what is the ADC's? What does he do? What does ADC do? Right. More so their job. So for the most part, the ADC is the champion. That is typically your late game insurance, right? The game is divided into three stages primarily. There's the early game, mid, and late game. So ADC for the most part is always the late game insurance. That's what we typically call it. Okay. So his job is to collect lots of gold and experience. You need gold, so you get items. You need items, so you do damage. That's kind of the ADC is a item dependent type of. They're item dependent more than the other, per se. That's more than the other roles, mainly because their abilities don't have a lot of things in their kits typically that allow them to like be useful in other side of the game, other parts in the game, other than being super late game damage or oriented. Like that, there are some ADCs that are utility, and they also do less damage typically, unless some broken build is out or whatnot. So for the most part, collect lots of golden experience, so they become your late game insurance. So they actually do lots of damage. So for the most part, most important thing is to pretty much get all that golden experience. Now, speaking of which, okay. P-Star Bros whining about how weak they are. Damn. So, late game insurance, collect lots of gold experience. So this means that CSing and catching waves is most important, right? CSing is basically all CSing is. You know what CSing is, right?
Yeah, it's creep score.
Yeah, creep score. So yeah, basically just getting good CS. So make sure one of the first things you're going to be doing, first thing you should be doing is going to practice tool and practicing how to like practice CSing, and then also doing that in your normal games. As you climb to level 30, make sure you have maximizing CS, not missing CS for no reason. Don't miss cannons. People will bully you if you miss cannons. Trust me. Basically you're CS and catching waves. And you're doing that until you get to late game or mid game, depending on what champion you have. But like I said, most of the time they're late game insurance. So let's quickly break down every lane. I mean, every like part of the game. So early game, this is the part of the game where typically you get for most people, most elos, this is where you get the most of your CS from. Like a lot of CS numbers come from this. You'll see a lot of times when you switch from after getting out of the early game to mid game, late game that you'll be CSing less, right? That's because a lot more things are happening around the map usually. So you have to manage your time better, so you make sure you're picking up these waves. That's why I say like you have to make sure you're catching waves. Catching waves is more, for the most part a mid to late game type thing. Because in the early game, it's a lot easier to catch waves because you're kind of just running back and forth to your lane over and over again, right? So early game, you're looking to maximize CSing. So 100%, you want to be able to get every CS in the early game. Like I said, those are the easiest CS you typically will ever get, unless you're getting crushed in lane. But obviously, like if you're getting crushed in lane, it makes it harder as you move around the map because you're probably going to get crushed everywhere else. So maximizing CS. This is also Dragon. It's bot side, right? Dragon control is very important. Dragon control. We'll talk about that, but like the Dragon, we'll just keep it in early game dragons. Let's see. Your support. So. Funny enough, the ADC matchups. So you hear like a lot of matchups are bad, right? Like they have like the Draven versus you've seen Draven, like Draven versus like a Kog'Maw, for example, is a really bad matchup for Kog'Maw, right? Well, a lot of times actually the support decides the lane, right? When I say that, the support matchup decides the lane. So like a lot of times supports in the early games have the same stats as the ADCs, right? But supports also have a better kits. Oriented with trading, CCing, all those types of things. So a lot of times your support matchup can decide a lane for you. This, for example, being where you have a Kog'Maw, but maybe you maybe have like a Syra Kog'Maw lane where Syra like is supporting the Kog'Maw's bad early game by having lots of damage in the early game, and she pushes the lane out towards the Draven. Say the Draven has like a tank or something like that. It makes it easier. Yeah, it makes it easier for them to do that thing. The matchup does matter. Like the ADC matchup does matter, but the support matchup typically matters a little bit more because it can really swing swing between a losing lane, a typical losing lane. But sometimes it's like it's unavoidable. Say if you have like for example, in my chat they were like Draven versus Twitch. In that matchup, the TL matchup, where it was a Twitch Rakan versus I think it was Draven Leona. Some crazy like that type of stuff is like, yeah, it's super hard. Leona is like Leona's meant to do. She's a super good early game. She's her stuns on a 4-second cooldown. Those type of kits right there. That's how easy it is to help the side of lane. So you have maximizing supports in the side lane. I'm going to send this. I'll put this all in our chat after we're done.
Okay, that's fine.
So yeah, talk about the mid game. It's a mid game. Your whole everything's gonna be maximizing CS. All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. Maximizing CS and experience. You're looking to pretty much rotate towards the safest lane, the safest lane to farm in. I don't know. It's about towards.
TOWARDS.
TOW. Okay. That's what I was missing. I was missing the. I was like, is it an O or A? It's both of them. Okay, that's what it is.
before the W.
It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Rotate towards the safest lane possible. So this makes sense. And then as we're talking about you being a late game champion, right? Mid to late game. So you rotate towards the safest lane possible. When I say rotate, also I mean moving to that lane. You rotating to that lane is very important. So you can pick up CS. So you're not like on a side lane where a SAS can easily the side lanes are longer. So it makes it so if you're pushed up in the side lane, it's a lot harder for you to it's easier for you to die. It's hard for you to stay safe because you're like pushing on the side lane. Then some assassins in the game. Mid laners at mid laners or junglers at this time can easily one shot you, or not one shot you, but they can easily solo you. So mainly because they're typically a level ahead of you, right? They're typically gonna be 1 or 2 levels ahead of you. They're typically gonna have more like early game damaging items, and it just feels bad. You have your stats don't like the stats from what you have and with the items you have don't have the same effect for side laning. So it makes it a lot harder in your life. So you're looking to rotate to the safest lane possible, typically the mid lane. Right? And this is typically 15 minutes post 15 minutes, right? So the 15 minutes. The towers in the game, they have a thing called tower plating, all right?
Yeah, 14 minutes they fall off.
Yeah, 14 minutes tower plating falls off. And before pre 14 minutes, they as the tower plating gets closer and closer to the smaller ticks, the towers get tankier and tankier. And then that's how they oriented it, so it makes it a little bit harder to because there were some games where people can end the game at 12 minutes, like sometimes in solo queue, like it's some crazy times back in the day where you can end the game. It's a lot harder to do that right now because just for them the way they set up the game, it makes it more likely people can come back in the game. Like I said, 14 minutes. Tower plating turns off. But yeah, so mid lane. You want to typically be mid lane post 15 minutes, right? This is, like I said, typically it's the shortest lane, typically the safest lane to farm in. And this is the lane that I don't know the statistics on this, but in my games, least likely to have the tower down first, because it's the easiest lane for people to come back to really fast, and easiest lane for the jungler to cover if the mid laner dies, right? So typically want to rotate mid lane. That being said, like I said, it depends. Whatever lane is safe. The mid lane tower is gone. If bot lane, you kept a tower bot lane as a good, if it's a decent matchup, then you could probably stay bot lane with proper wave management, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so you're looking to also always be around objectives. So objectives, at this point, you're looking to rotate with objectives now. You can also rotate towards the Rift Herald and the Baron now. Not your mid lane. You're looking for Rift Herald, Baron. You can look to help with these objectives. You should be at 1.5 items probably. That's the average is probably 1.5 items, maybe right now. At around 15 minutes, maybe if you're CSing with like a 7 to 8, if you're 7 to 8 CS a minute, you're probably gonna be around that. So we have objectives. So your job objectives is now you look into this game where you have to look at your team comp now, right? So there's about 2 ways that a ADC life is, unfortunately. So you have either the front to back, where your team's playing front to back for you. So you know what front to back is?
No.
Awesome. Yeah. So we'll have extra stuff down here. So front to back, quick definition. So it means your team composition. Basically your team composition has 1 or 2 tanks, and then you have so you have a front line. So your tanky people in your front line, right? So you have tanky people in front. Then you have behind them, you can have either be you, or it'll be like your support, or like your mid laner. It'll just be like either damage dealers behind them, or some other support that buffs everybody, something like that. In most cases, I'm gonna draw it out for you. So like tank people in the front, and then we'll just say damage dealers and buffers and back. So it kind of looks like this real quick. I'll pull it up for you on my once it's loading. There we go. So yeah, so you have like a the green's gonna be the techie people, right? So you have the front here, you have 2 tanks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the back, you're gonna have the damage dealers, and then maybe a support, right? Like right here. This is called front to back, right? Basically means that when in the middle of fights, and then the enemy team might have the same thing. So we'll just assume the enemy team have the exact same thing. So don't care. It doesn't matter where they are. I'm just putting it there. Yeah. So we're looking to quickly boop boop, and then boop. That's fine. So as I said before, so front to back. So we have tanky people, right? So this is the enemy. Say this is the enemy. This is your team. Your tanks are in the front right here. They're attacking each other, while your supports are also right here, doing their thing. So they're playing around the map. They're playing around the team fight, buffing you, maybe buffing your tanks, keeping them alive. Whatever the support is. And you have your damage dealer, which is typically you, mid lane, or whoever is damage dealers, on the team. But you will always be a damage dealer for the most part. So you're always looking to. Here we go. Yeah. So you're always looking to be right here in the back. And this is called front to back. It's the most basic like team fighting, like fighting 5v5, whatever you do. Like this is the most basic of basics that people teach you, or that you will learn. So playing front to back is you as an ADC will typically hit. We'll just say we'll put this color. So yeah, so say this is you right here, right? That's you. You're hitting. Yeah. You're doing all your damage to the people in the front. So the tanks in the front. Typically, the way this ends is whoever's tanks dies first, and then the other team pushes in. So your job here is to deal as much damage to the people as possible, and then if per se, we'll also type this in real quick. Let me. I think there we go. Prio targets, right? So these people right here. So these are for now. As if these are the only people you can hit, these are your priority targets, right? Priority targets in this game is super important to understand that the concept of who is the right target at the right time. So if these are the only people that you can hit in the team fight currently, and you don't have any you don't have a fucking you don't have MFO, some cool super powerful ult. These are your priority targets. You need to be shredding these people and knocking them down. Say if this guy right here walks up, right? Yeah, say if this guy in the red right here walks up a little bit too far, he is now your priority target. So if the damage dealer walks up and in the middle of this fight, this is the person you're autoing now. This is the person because they're doing all the damage to your target, your tanks too. Because remember, if your tank line dies first, you're probably gonna lose the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but so that makes sense. If you killed the person doing the damage to the tanks, then your tank line is inherently not going to die as fast, and you're going to win this fight. So, and this is what I'm saying. These are priority targets. So for now, this is your priority targets. But yeah, this is the basic and most basic team fights. Is when your tanks are in the front and your damage are in the back line. You're just clashing into each other, where the tanks hit each other while everyone's like attacking the tanks. You'll see it happens in a whole bunch of ways. Where say say that like say it's you and you and your team right here, right? And there's a tank, and then one of their tanks are right there in front of you, and like the rest of your team's fighting over here, and your tank's over there messing with them. This is still a team fight, where it's front to back essentially, where their tank is fighting you guys, and then your tank is fighting their guys, and then whoever's tank dies first, the team's gonna go and help. So that's the simplest of simple type of team fights. So priority target, we're gonna do. If anyone is out of range, it's the closest target, so the closest person. So if everyone else is out of range, the closest person is the priority target. And then any damage dealer or typically or support tip. I mean, if you can kill support really fast, say if you're like they're really low, in damage dealer support that isn't a tank. These, for the most parts, are your priority targets, right? Welcome back, Nick. Nice to see you. Support, how you doing, guy? How y'all doing? Sorry. Let's see. So we have front to back team fighting.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So like a lot of this, like it makes sense. Just the optimal positioning and everything, but a lot of this, it seems like kind of theoretical. Like this is the most optimal it can be if your team is all coordinated. But that doesn't always seem to be the case with a lot of this for me. Like, if I have a support that takes my CS, like that's something that happens. Or like we don't get this whole perfect position of two tanks in the front and all that. Like a lot of people like to back off the fight early or go in too early.
Yeah.
Like that's something I would also like if we're able to have it in, this time that we're here, like to go over that kind of stuff, like unoptimal positions and situations, like how to make the best of that.
Yeah. So pretty easy thought process here. So like I said, I was trying to teach you the basics, but this is actually a good question here. So you are the ADC. I'm going to tell you right now, ADC is the hardest role to climb in, period, right? It's the hardest role to climb in, easily. That being said, in terms of improving as a player and improving the game, you have to focus on doing the right thing and everything that you know that is factually right, okay? So you're going to lose games, all right? You're going to lose games. You're going to have people that don't know what they're doing. It happens. And definitely you're new to the game, so people you're playing are typically new to the game also. So they don't like watch videos or like have coaching. They're not going to know this information, but you will know this information as you get to ranked, as you get to that that level. You will have this information. So the right now what you're playing in right now, like I said, people who are new to the game, they're not going to know the basics. We're talking about is like macro things, positioning, things like that. We're talking about how everything works. They're not going to know that it's fine. But when you get to ranked, you will start climbing rank almost instantly because you know the basics a little bit better than everybody. I can tell you right now, from iron to maybe gold is just literally basics. Like people just know the basics better than you. That's how it really is, right? So if you know your basics, if you have them all down pat, you're going to climb really fast. You're going to play with players that know, that they know what they should be doing, and you'll end up with these situations right here where the ones I'm talking about a lot sooner. But for now, as I said, you want to learn these basics. You want to get them nailed in your head before you even get to that level. Because what you can do in game right now, there's nothing you can do, right? If you get in situations where people are backing off, you have to play with your team. You're the ADC. You have to play with your team. You typically can't go man mode. You're not like a big tank or a big bruiser who like gets all the health back from like autoing one person and then like kills everybody. You're not like Darius or something. You know, you're not Kane. Um, so the thing you can the only thing you can do is maximize like these type of things, like maximize your basics. So as long as you're playing, you know, you're playing front to back well. So say if your team does they decide to do a front to back fight, and you're the one, you're playing in the right position, you know when to back off, you know who to hit people. You're gonna be doing better than the opposing team, and because opposing teams also make mistakes, they also don't know what they're doing. And it becomes a time. There's a time where you're playing this game where you have to learn also how to like help dictate your teammates, right? Pinging in the game is very important. So you need to make sure you're pinging them and letting them know that like this is what you want to do. Where in terms of macro calls, in terms of you can type in chat if you want to, you know, we're front to back or you know things like that. But as I said before, you also can't control what your teammates do. So you kind of have to play as if everyone's going to do the right thing. And if they don't, the only way to maximize like that time and effort is if you're doing the right thing. And if you consistently do the right thing, you will climb. That's just how that works. If you're making the right call at the right time, and you like if it's the actual right call, like I'm not just saying like you know you got like 2 kills from the call, but like you didn't get any towers. And like if it's I like factually the right call, the most efficient call, then you will climb. I promise you. And as you learn these basics, this is what you're trying to hone. These are the basics you're trying to hone right here as you get to ranked.
All right.
So let's see. Good moving between. Oh, okay, yeah. We talked about CSing, kiting and moving between auto attacks. I don't think we're going to get to that. Maybe not in the session. I'm not. Just kind of go over a little bit of macro, and and how the game works. So, priority targets, anyone's out of range. Yeah, sports DD is in a tank. CSing waves. Okay, yeah, awesome. So yeah, front to back team fighting. This, like I said, this is the most basic one that you'll do. There are a few other types of team fighting that happen, or that depends on team comp. So team fighting depends on team comp, really. But this is the most basic one. People just default to this usually. Actually, you'd be surprised how many people have like different team comps and they just default to this. Where like the Fuhrer, the split push Fuhrer, like comes to like is at the dragon fight, for no reason. Some dumb stuff like that, like things that like that happen. So this happens all the time. People actually default to team fighting for the most part. So that's why this is the best one to learn. This is the best one to master and learn because this is what everyone defaults to. And if they and people that don't know what they're doing, they default to this early, then they lose. That's how you don't climb. If you don't know how to play, like if you don't know how to play other fighting styles. But for you, honestly, your ADC, this is what you're looking for, really. Like this is your bread and butter as an ADC player, right? Any other fighting style where it's like, say I feel like you have like a half your team engages and half you stay back, feels really bad because it leaves you vulnerable. As I said before, you're looking to stay safe and do damage. This is your bread and butter. So this is what you want to focus on, learning how to do.
Right.
Let's see. So we have rotate towards safest lane possible, objectives. So let's talk about the objectives real quick. There's the 4 dragons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Rift Herald, Baron, and Soul. Yeah, Baron. I mean, and what's it called? Elder Dragon. All right.
Yeah.
My personal opinion people might not agree, but I think in terms of solo queue, dragons is the most important, easily the most important objective. They're the only objective on the map that the stats stick. All right. So yeah. So everything on the map, gold, items, and the 4 dragons are the only things. That's the only thing that like they're all permanent. Like once you get them, they're permanent. So that's why, in my opinion, in terms of solo queue, you can if you're able to get your dragon stacking and you win and you get the soul, then you're most likely going to win the game, just because it's like I said, it sticks. So most important. There's a whole bunch of things you do in a macro sense. You know what macro and micro is? You know like those words?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So there's a whole thing you can do in macro sense where you get like you're getting Rift or you're getting Baron. You know, there's a whole bunch of things you can do with that. But like I said, and dragons are the easiest one to like because it's the easiest one to work with. So dragons. I'm gonna put these in order actually. So I think dragons. If you ever get Elder Dragon, if it gets that late, because that thing's OP. And then I think Baron and then Rift. I think people don't in solo queue definitely that your elo won't know how to maximize Rift. They won't know how to maximize Rift. They won't know how to maximize Baron. Elder's a flat buff that just fucking makes you like more likely to be win all your fights. And that's a Dragon Stick. So this is in terms of objectives is what you're looking for. If you ever like I said, you're trying to help ping your team. If you know the right answer, don't be afraid to try to get your team to do it. And that means like mass pinging, doing everything, doing whatever it is, pinging a whole bunch, typing in chat sometimes. Well, okay, let's talk about this actually. As you have fun with the game, make sure to mute people in chat. Sometimes some people recommend like mute all at the beginning of the game. I don't do that because for the content, obviously, I have content to make, so I can't mute everybody. But when I climbed the most, it was by muting everybody in chat. So I do recommend you can do that. If you run into a lot of toxic people, and if you're mental, if you can't really deal with that type of thing, just mute everybody from the beginning. Okay. Let's talk about late game here. So this is for the most part your strongest you're going to get. And this is when you shine. You at this point you will typically have a lot of all your items right, or most of your core items anyway. This is where your levels start to like become like less, like it doesn't matter as much. Like if everyone's level 18 in the game, then I mean the levels don't matter, right?
Right.
In most cases, some people obviously like a level 16 Kale is different from level 6 Kale. It's just because the levels her levels are good for her. But for the most part that's how that works. And you start inherently you're going to be underleveled from most people in the game. So like I said, the later the game goes, your levels makes you more tankier. You catch up to the people that are level 18 they'll typically get there before you. And this is when you shine. This is when you do the most damage. Your items, the ADC items, are built to do the most damage typically in the late game. Mid to late game. That's their items typically built. So you're looking to same thing. You're looking for you can rely less XP and CSing. It's not as important. So let's reword that actually. Not as important. So your XP and CSing is not as important. People were talking in the chat. ADC's totally easy. Hey, we won't talk about that, okay? Anyway, but yeah, XP and CSing is the less important of those things now because you don't need them anymore. You're full build, right? You probably unless you're like 2 items off, behind the enemy ADC or something like that. You can look for team fights a little bit more. And if you ever hit max items, you don't need a CS at all, really. You're looking to give your teammates that CS. If you ever hit max items and you see a teammate is not at max items, you just give them all that, okay? If you ever hit level 18 and you're like, okay, I'm 18 max CS, your teammates, if the game's still going on at that point, you want your teammates to get as big as possible, as fast as possible, because they're going to be the difference maker. Because you're maxing what you can do in terms of your damage and everything. So CSing XP not as important. Objectives. So quick thing. Let's. I said objectives. My bad. This is maybe put neutral objectives actually. Now that I said that. So let's talk about what objectives are actually. Objectives are everything in the map actually. Really, in terms of towers, everything. So towers, the inhibs, all that stuff. So let's break down what's most important, right? So objectives as a whole, the most ones I would say is important. You have towers. So towers give you these things. Towers give you in terms of safety. So it gives you like it makes it less safe for the enemy team. It makes it safer for you because they have to walk up through a lot more things. So it's like a mental type of thing for safety for them. So it makes it safety like that. It also makes it easier to ward and map control. So yeah, towers in terms of objectives really important. So if you're ever looking for things on the map, The outer towers are super good to take. Typically, you can trade an outer tower for a inner tower, depending on what side of the map it is. The mid lane tower is the most important tower in the game. Will not lie to you. Will not lie to you. Mid lane tower, it opens up the map entirely. So that's why when I say whenever you rotate to the mid lane after early game, right? You can rotate mid lane. You want to keep that tower up because if they take that tower, they can roam all through your jungle a lot easier. It makes it a lot harder for you to stay mid lane because it's less safe. But towers, I would probably say mid game inhibs. Quick thing, whenever you are playing in game and your team is like quickly, if you're crushing a team, right? If you're crushing another team, don't take an early inhib. Like if it's like 18 minutes, don't take that inhib. Okay, that makes sense. Ping your team off of it. The reason why is because those minions, those big boy minions, right? They're gonna push in the waves constantly, and you're not gonna be able to get it in that CS or experience. And so there's gonna be an experience like deficiency. And if you don't end up closing the game fast, you're actually gonna lose a lot more gold and experience for that. That makes sense?
Okay, because they'll be able to keep killing them and gain more gold and experience off of them.
Yeah, exactly. And you won't be getting any gold because that one lane by itself will just like you'll never get in that gold experience. So if you're not hardcore like winning the game, then just don't do it. Just ping your team off. Just get the tower and walk away. So you can say that for a later game. So you can say that for mid game. So mid game. So mid slash late inhibs. And then we go into the whole dragons. And then so yeah. So these are the most important things, in my opinion. And then this list right here is right behind it. So that's exactly how you want to do it. Let's read. My main is jungle, so you look at the map when I play top. I'm not focusing on my lane. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So we have objectives here. Late game. So, and obviously team fighting. Outputting max damage. So, because like I said, you're the insurance. So if you're not outputting your max amount of damage in terms of like kiting, so we'll talk about kiting, hitting the priority target. Like if you're not doing these small things that we're talking about, you're not putting out max damage about what you could be doing. And then so you're this insurance right here. The whole reason that the team made sure that that they gave up. They gave you the safest lane possible. They gave you they rotated for you. The reason they picked a tank for you is so you can output max damage and you're that insurance for them to automatically win fights for them. That's the whole point. This is the whole point right here for you to outputting the max amount of damage you could, and this turns into wins if you're in late game. So let's got those. Let's talk about AD carry and some of these small micro things. So what we're talking about earlier. This is macro. This is called macro. So these are micro things. We're talking about some micro things real quick. So kiting. All right, do you know what kiting is?
Like leading the enemies.
Say that again.
Leading the enemies, like trying to bring them back to you.
Not exactly. I'm gonna go through my settings real quick, and I'm gonna kind of show you. One of the set. I don't know if it's here. All right, I don't think it's here. It's probably in the end game. So actual game. So there's it's basically all it is whenever a person. Whenever a person is chasing you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to auto this person, so you're autoing them. So they're chasing down mid lane, right? You are able to auto them as you walk. It's called attack moving, all right? That's what it's called. You attack move. So it's auto move, auto move, auto move. So as you're moving down the lane, you're autoing them away, and you're trying to move away. That's called kiting. Your attempt, because kiting essentially is you're doing damage while running. That's all it is. That's all it really is, right? And so we play some games or just coaches. I'll be playing some games pretty soon after this coaching session. But yeah, so you're kiting away, and this is so important as an ADC. You're an auto attack person. That's pretty much where all your damage comes from. For the most part, a lot of times you're just auto attacking, And depending on the champion, it's even more important because you're getting like Vayne where it gets her like her 3 procs right. That's so important. So and this kiting works in every and also the opposite way where if you're chasing somebody right, you're playing on the very outside. Let's talk about this. Yeah, so you're playing on the very outside of their like engage. So here, for example, um, maybe let's say that right here, the sphere. Don't we're not talking about how bad that was, right? See the sphere here is Vayne's like sphere of influence. So we call it sphere of influence is basically it's just how it sounds. This is where if you walk into here, this is where she can do damage to you if you walk to the circle, right?
All right.
So um your job the way you kite is you want to stand on the very outside of the sphere of influence. So say if you are Caitlyn, your champion, Caitlyn has a longer range than Vayne, right? So your whole
Mm-hmm.
job is to as you guys are fighting to stand and be able to auto like right outside, right on the edge of it, right? And you're autoing her. So she's in your sphere of influence where you can easily auto her, but she can't auto you. And you're kiting that way. That's how you're kiting. That's exactly how you're kiting. You're as she moves forward, you move forward, and then you auto her. And as she moves towards you, you move back towards her as you auto her. And you
Mm-hmm.
just do that. And obviously, everyone has abilities, and abilities can change. And that's why the spirit influence is different because they're actual. You can actually add the better you get, you can actually add people's like their abilities to their spirit influence. So you know exactly like how far you can walk up, and depending on how their ability, how their gap closer on their ability. And this is called kiting. So constantly doing that with everybody is called kiting. You can watch a lot of videos on it. I would definitely look it up and get a better like instance of it. I can't really do it without. Yeah, it's really hard for me to do it right now without us running out of time. Um, so yeah. So ADC's kiting is a macro thing. Let's talk about in terms of what are your favorite champions, real quick. Let's see. I reckon my friend here, my coach is in my chat. He's recommending Misfortune, and also Kaden Ash. Who do you play out of those,
Um,
or if you play any of those?
play Caitlyn, and I play Twitch.
Awesome. Yeah, so I play Kaylin. Awesome. So yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kaylin has a huge yeah, Kaylin has a huge like sphere of influence. And what we're talking about here is we need to learn what's that? We need to learn is that typically when you're learning the game, you want to stick to one or two champions, right? That you have a lot of fun playing. The number one thing to do is have fun. So you're looking to stick to those one or two champions to have fun playing. If you like Kaylin, I can definitely I play a lot of Kaylin. Let's talk about some micro things with Kaylin, just to get you better with her. So her W, right? Her W is she puts traps down, right?
Yeah.
So there's things called a attack resets that you can do that kind of with their auto attack resets. All it is basically you're canceling your auto animation with another animation, so it makes your attack come back faster, right? Faster. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
called. Auto attack reset. So we're Caitlyn actually has an interesting little thing that you can do with her W. Is if you auto attack and as you're auto attacking, if you press W, it allows you to kind of auto attack reset and your second attack comes out a little bit faster, just slightly bit faster, and also your W kind of looks a little bit weird when you do it, and they don't really see it coming. It happens as you are auto attacking. It's really clean. It's really cool. If you actually get it to work. So W, we're gonna Caitlyn W while autoing as you auto. So you want to put it under the enemy champion. So you want to W as you auto, put it under the enemy champion so they can walk into it, or maybe they're in the middle of autoing right and it procs on them, and you get that extra headshot. So
Mm-hmm.
another thing with Caitlyn you can do, or you need to be doing is Caitlyn's W. If they step on W, Q then auto, right? So Caitlyn's ability is if you step on W, that your Q does max damage. I think it crits too. I think, or it has like a crit modifier or something like that. Let me actually look it up to make sure I'm saying the exact thing here for you. By the way, download Blitz app. I don't know if you use it, but it's really good. Tells you pretty much everything you need to know about champions. What to level up first. If you want to learn new champions, I really enjoy it. I still use it to this day. So yeah, we're going to. I guess not. I guess. Oh, here it goes. Yeah. Let's see. Basically, this app also gives you like all the like how to play against a champion or something like that. It's really useful. I guess it doesn't have the abilities on here. I thought it did. I thought I read it to you anyway. But yeah, so you wanna Q on top of them as a W lands, just so it does the damage. It's a lot more damage, and then you auto because you get the increased damage, right?
Yeah.
So you as you hit W, I don't know why I typed double W. We're not gonna talk about that. We won't talk about that I did that. Blitz app sucks. Hey, shut up, Beck. So yeah, Q then auto. Very important. There's a lot of damage you're missing if you're not doing that. It's a Caitlyn thing. Also, another thing you can do here is if another little combo here where you can go watch the combo. Watch Caitlyn combos. We'll type that. As you're looking to, if you can, you want to look to E, and then Q. So the reason you E and you can automatically try to Q them is because when they're slowed, it makes your Q easy to land, right?
Yeah.
And if you E them, that means most likely you have no minions in front of you, so you're going to do max damage on Q. Because if your E hits them, the only way they can hit them if they have no minions in front of them. So this is the easy little micro things you can do to increase your trades in lane. Super easy for Caitlyn. Really good, and that's how you do a lot. That's how you maximize damage on Caitlyn. It's not the most optimal thing, but I have to be able to show you those combos in actual game to kind of like explain what they do, how to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But these are small things. Let's see, auto attacks, reset. I think that's pretty much the easiest things for ADC. Honestly, we don't really do much. We just auto a whole bunch. So maximizing your autos is pretty much the best thing you do. So kiting, maximizes autos. Let's see. So if eating Q. All right. And we'll talk about. I guess we can go a little bit more into macro. Although it's kind of a little bit hard. Which is we'll do the basic of wave management, right? So wave management. So this is something that you're not going to be super like familiar with right now, or let's say you're probably not going to be the best at this. You probably don't even do this right now, right? Like, do you know what wave management is?
Talk about we like freeze the lane and stuff.
Yeah, like you freeze the lane, you push lane, stuff like that. I'll give you the basic of what everything is. So there's a freeze, there's a push, there's a slow push, hard push. We'll just do those. Those are the most basic of things that could happen in lane. You have a freeze, you have a slow push, and a hard push, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, quick example. We'll just give you an example on this is why I like this thing. So, you have a hard push. So, hard push is if your minions, you're basically using all your abilities and mana. Typically, all your abilities and mana to hard push the lane. So you're looking. So say if your minions are right here, right? You're looking to. If you're Caitlyn, you're queuing the wave. You're killing the whole wave, so you make sure you get all the minions, right? And you're autoing. Maybe if you're planning on backing, you E. So yeah, this is the hard push where you use everything you can. You ping your support to help you push the wave. Also yeah. I'll do that later. So yeah, you're using everything you can to push the wave, which is support. The reason that you would hard push for the most part is to get a back off. So we're just gonna say right now, just for purposes for you to learn the basics. Hard push is to get a back off, a reset, or a buy, or however you want to say it. if you so the reason this being is if you hard push the wave into the tower, hopefully the enemy loses something. It makes it to where you are less likely to lose minions because you hard push the tower, and this only happens hard push. This only happens when your minions are when your minions hit tower. So the actual push only actually like happens if your minions are actually auto attacking tower. I mean I literally mean that the melee minions or the ranged minions are actually autoing the tower. If those minions are autoing the tower, you know you have you have fully hard pushed the lane. It's only then, because that means that they're not autoing the minions that are coming in. They're autoing the minions that they're autoing the tower, which means that the tower's going to hit them, kill them, and it's going to bounce back towards you. But that's something else. So that's your hard push. You got a slow push is maybe last hitting, right? So a slow push happens when you last hit things. Say if you're last hitting, and the main is pushing towards them, you're last hitting. So if it's pushing towards them, you're last hitting. So this is typically last hitting. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not even last hitting. You're just you have a little bit more minions than them, and that your minions naturally like you have more minions. So this is also going to happen if you're not touching the tower, or you're not touching the minion wave. If you have more minions than them, it's going to slow push towards them. That's what this happens. So you can last it, or you can last it, or you can hard push. So you can slow push or hard push, and this is always going to happen if you have more minions. If you have more minions, regardless what you do, it's going to push towards them slowly. Let's see. And then you have a freeze. So in bot lane, you can freeze the wave with a. I'm gonna tell you 5 minions, right? You can do it. You can kind of do it with 4 minions, but I'm gonna tell you 5 minions. And the easiest way to freeze the wave is basically all you're doing here is you are. This is not the new map, but you're going to take the minions. So you're gonna get all the aggro for the minions, right? So you're gonna have aggro. Aggro is when all the minions are hitting you, right? You can grab aggro for the minions and you want to drag them to the bush, and you want to go in and out of the bush until your next minion wave comes. Typically, you want the wave to hit like right here. This is where you want to stop it at. So you're gonna grab the minions. You're gonna weave in and outside the bush until your next wave comes, and then bam. You can do it. You can, and the more minions you have, the easier it is gonna be to freeze the wave. But typically five minions would freeze the wave. So yeah. Let's see. Alrighty. And so we're running out of time. So a few quick notes. Actually, really good notes. So we're talking about Kate's passive for the bushes for leashes and such. Yeah, good thing. So whenever you have a jungler in the game, right? And the jungler you go to help the jungler start the red buff, and you're gonna leave. What you're gonna do is you're gonna give them, I think it's 6 autos. So it's Kate passive, right? Kate passive every 5 autos, I believe. It's a you get a crit, right? I believe.
Or like an enhanced auto. I don't know if it's crit.
Yeah, it's an enhanced auto. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, the enhanced auto. You're gonna give them all 5 of those autos, and that enhanced auto, you're gonna walk away. That's your leash. That's called leashing. That's what you're gonna leash to the jungler. That's the basic quick. So you make sure you get all those hits in. That gives them a good leash, and it gives you enough time to get back to lane. And get there for the first 6 minions in lane. And where's he also K passive with bushes for leashes and such. Also just setting your traps and bushes early game too. So just putting a W in the bush, like right when they walk into the bush. Sometimes you get easy Qs off of that. Easy autos off of that. Powered autos and Qs on top of them. Easy ways to get damage if you put it in the bush early game, because it's easy for them to like dodge it. Also, one more thing, if you put your W, like, say if you look at the tower, right? If you can place your W like right there behind the tower, it makes it so where they can't really see the W really well, and they're very likely to walk into it,
Hmm.
and then it gives you when you're sieging it, and you can just get extra damage from that. Um, but yeah, about all the time we have here. I hope you learned something. And like I said, I know you're really brand new to the game, so work on these like the basics here. Just work on the very basics, and I promise you, when you get to ranked, when you play ranked, and you have these basics down, you will climb pretty fast, right?
All right.
And I hope you learned something. I really do. It's a lot of information, a lot of stuff to go over. Um, I think it's the most this is most beneficial for you to know this since you're brand new to the game. I don't think watching your gameplay would have helped too much more. Here, I'm posting it all to chat for you right now, so you have all of it. But anyway, thank you so much, man. I have a in the Discord. There is a feedback for coaches. If you want to go on there, tell me how to do it. I'm always looking to get improve on my coaching, and also come back in around like 2 more weeks, and hopefully we can work on some more stuff, and actually look at some gameplay, right, and play some games. Um, but first, I think it's better for you to also go watch some videos on like these little macro things I was talking about, right? You should go watch
Hmm.
some of these see some of these videos like the K combo. Watch the K combos. Learn the K combos. Watch high elo people play. It's very important. They're doing most of the things right. You want to understand why they're doing it right. So yeah, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
And you.